10 things that shock Americans about the UK. When Americans visit the UK, they often expect it to feel familiar. Same language, shared pop culture, and centuries of history intertwined. But the moment they arrive, reality kicks in. From the layout of homes to daily routines, the UK has a rhythm all its own. These are the 10 things that shock Americans about Britain, from curious customs to unexpected routines that reveal just how different life really is on the other side of the Atlantic. 10. Hot and cold taps. Ask any American who's just arrived in the UK about their first bathroom experience, and chances are they'll mention the taps. Or rather, 2 taps. One that dispenses water hot enough to boil pasta, and another that seems fresh from a mountain stream. No mixer in sight. This design choice, common in older British bathrooms, goes back to historical plumbing standards that required hot and cold supplies to be kept separate. It was about protecting drinking water from contamination. But even with modern plumbing, many British bathrooms still stick to tradition. To an American, used to single-handle mixer taps and precise water temperature control, this setup is both impractical and surprising. It's one of those things that instantly reminds visitors, you're not in Kansas anymore. 9. Washing machines in the kitchen and fridges the size of a suitcase. Another moment of confusion comes when Americans step into a British kitchen and spot a washing machine. Yes, in the UK it's common for laundry machines to live alongside the oven and sink. It's not because Brits are confused, it's all about space. Many UK homes, especially in cities, don't have the luxury of a utility or laundry room. The kitchen is where there's plumbing and enough space, so that's where it goes. And it works, just not what an American would expect. Then there's the fridge. Instead of the towering double-door giants found in many US households, British fridges are often under-the-counter units, or slender single-door versions. Why? Because shopping habits are different. Brits tend to shop more frequently, often buying fresh rather than bulk. To an American used to Costco-sized hauls, this setup feels limiting. But in the UK, it's simply practical living. 8. No window screens. Bugs? What bugs? In the US, window screens are standard. Want fresh air without mosquitoes or flies? Pull up the window and let the screen do its job. But in the UK, open the window and that's it. No screen, no barrier, just air and anything else that comes with it. To Americans, this raises immediate concerns. How do you stop bugs from flying in? Do Brits just tolerate wasps at dinner? The answer lies partly in the UK's climate. It's generally cooler, and many areas don't have the same insect population density found in parts of the US, especially the southern states. As a result, window screens have never become the norm. Still, for Americans, especially those who've done battle with flies and mosquitoes in summer, this is a major culture shock. 7. A national love affair with tea. Americans know Brits love tea, but few grasp just how much. In the UK, tea isn't just a drink, it's a ritual, a routine and a reflex. It's the answer to stress, sadness, social awkwardness, and just about every household visitor. The kettle is the heartbeat of a British kitchen. Boiling water in under a minute thanks to electric kettles that put stovetop models to shame, Brits can whip up a cuppa at lightning speed. And you won't find sweet iced tea here, that's strictly an American thing. Instead, the UK lives for hot, milky tea, often builder's tea, strong and straightforward. To Americans used to coffee culture, sugary teas, and coffee shop chains on every corner, this obsession with tea can be both charming and confusing. 6. Roundabouts. Rule the road. Driving in the UK is already enough of a challenge for Americans. Right side of the car, left side of the road. But throw in a barrage of roundabouts and you've got a full-blown adventure. Unlike the US, where traffic lights and stop signs dominate intersections, the UK is filled with circular junctions. Some are small and simple, others are sprawling monsters with multiple lanes, signs, and exits that seem designed to test your nerves. But here's the kicker. Once Americans figure them out, many admit that roundabouts actually work better. Traffic flows faster, and fewer cars end up idling for long periods. Still, it's easy to spot the American tourist hesitating at a mini roundabout, trying to figure out who goes where and when. 5. Public transport that actually works. In large parts of the US, having a car isn't optional, it's a necessity. Cities and suburbs are built for vehicles, and public transport is often unreliable or non-existent. That's why, when Americans visit the UK, the ease of getting around without a car is a massive surprise. From the Underground in London to the scenic railways in the Scottish Highlands, the UK's public transport system is efficient, accessible, and comprehensive. Even small towns have decent bus links, and trains can take you from countryside to capital in under an hour. The idea of hopping on a train and getting from one end of the country to the other, without delays, cancellations, or confusion, feels almost magical to many American visitors. 4. Saying sorry for literally everything. If Americans had $1 for every time they heard sorry in the UK, they'd probably fund their trip home. Brits apologise for everything, even when they were the ones who got bumped into. In British culture, sorry isn't always an apology in the American sense. It's often just a polite way to acknowledge another person's presence or avoid conflict. Miss someone's call? Sorry. Need to ask a question in a shop? Start with sorry. To an American, who might see apologies as tied to fault or guilt, this can be confusing at first, but by the end of their stay, many find themselves doing it too. 3. Beer that's not icy cold. For many Americans, beer equals ice. Whether it's a frosty bottle from the fridge or a mug chilled in the freezer, cold is key. So when they walk into a traditional pub in the UK and get handed a room temperature pint, it's a shock. To be fair, British ales aren't served warm. They're served at cellar temperature, around 11 to 13 degrees Celsius. This brings out the complex flavours in traditional ales and bitters. It's not the same as the mass-market lagers most Americans are used to, and don't expect ice in your drink unless you ask for it. The idea of putting ice in beer, for example, is pretty much unheard of in the UK, and will probably get you some strange looks. 2. Free healthcare, no strings attached. This one really makes jaws drop. In the UK, a visit to the doctor doesn't come with a bill. Neither does a trip to A&E. That's the ER, by the way. Surgery? Covered. Prescription medication? Usually under £10. The National Health Service, or NHS, is publicly funded through taxes and offers free at point-of-use care for all legal residents. To an American, this feels revolutionary. No co-pays, no deductibles, no surprise bills in the mail. While the NHS has its challenges, waiting times for example, it still stands as a symbol of equal access and national pride. It's often the one thing Americans say they wish they could bring home with them. 1. Early closings and quiet Sundays. Topping the list of 10 things that shock Americans about the UK is the national habit of calling it a day, early. Most shops close around 5:30 or 6 p.m. Restaurants and pubs are often winding down by 10 or 11. And Sundays? Whole towns can feel like ghost towns. In the US, where 24-hour convenience stores, midnight diners, and late-night Target runs are the norm, this slower pace can be a real adjustment. But here's the thing, many Brits like it this way. It reflects a focus on work-life balance, personal time, and family. And for some Americans, what starts as a frustration eventually becomes one of the UK's most endearing traits. From the taps to the trains, and the tea to the NHS, The 10 things that shock Americans about Britain are a window into a country that looks familiar on the surface, but plays by its own rules underneath. For American visitors, it's a culture shock wrapped in politeness and powered by cups of tea. But by the end of their trip, many wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, turn on